Hello explorers, it's that time again. It's Advent of Code, finally! And as normal, you can join the channel as a Christmas explorer and see all the uncut content before I publish any video. Day 9, Mirage Maintenance. You ride a camel through the sandstorm and stop where the goat's map told you to stop. The sandstorm subsequently subsides, somehow seeing you standing at an oasis. The camel goes and gets some water and you stretch your neck. As you look up to discover that you must be yet another giant floating island. This one is made of metal. That must be where the parts to fix the sand machine come from. There's even a hang glider partially buried in the sand once the sun rises and heats up the sand. You might be able to use the glider and hot air to get all the way up to Metal Island. While you wait for the sun to rise, you admire the oasis hidden here in the middle of Desert Island. Must have a delicate ecosystem. You might as well take some ecological reading while you wait. Maybe you can report environmental instabilities you find to someone so the oasis can be around for another next sandstorm warm traveler. You pull out your handy oasis and sand instability sensor and analyze your surroundings. The oasis produces a report of many values and how they are changing over time, your puzzle input. Each line in the report contains the history of a single value. For example, I have a bunch of values here. To best protect Oasis, your environmental report should include predictions of the next value in each history. To do this, start by making a subsequent from a different at each step of your history. The sequence is not all zeros. Repeat this process using the sequence you just generated as an input sequence. Once all of the values in your latest sequence are zeros, you can extrapolate what the value of the original history must be. In the above dataset, the first history is 0, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Because the values increase by 3 each step, the first sequence of the difference generated will be 3, 3, 3, 3. Note that this sequence has one fewer value than the input sequence because each step in it considers 2 numbers from the input. Since these values aren't all 0, repeat the process. Values differ 0 on each step, so the next sequence is 0, 0, 0. This means that you have enough information to extrapolate victory. Visually, these sequences can be arranged like this. Okay. To extrapolate and start by adding a new 0 to the end of the list of zeros. Because the zeros represent differences between 2 values above them, this also means that it's now a placeholder in every sequence above it. You can then start filling in placeholders from the bottom up. A needs to be a result of 3. The value to its left by 0. Below it has A must be a 3. Finally, you can fill in the row, which means that your result is 15. Left by 3, the value below it, or 18. So the next value in the first history is 18. Finding all zeros for a different second history requires an additional sequence. What's the sum of these extrapolated values? Put it in here. Long array, series, new list, like that, array list. We can have a function calc next value line val like that, because the series is only interesting in this function. So for each line, string and we split this with a space. And we have a long line array long I think we need to actually have this line array. So this is a long array. Perfect. Long array parse long. So now we should have an array. Take our series and add long array to that. Well, let's do a deque. Array deque. So we will push to the queue. And then we will create let's see. Here we will create a new array. Long new array. Long array length. Long in long array. And this needs to be one less. We could probably use an int here. like that. And it doesn't like that I reused the variable, so fine. Let's use another one. So here we go. For the new array, we take the long array, j, so we do like that. Absolute math different. Now this should be new array j. There we go. Series push new array long array equals to new array. So if we run this, let's do two values, because then we won't have a sequence, right? We still end up down here. We have a series of one value. Now we have the correct value. So I have a series of three values, where the last one is 1. And I think we should switch up these two, like that, while series I'm not really sure why. Is empty. Well, it's not empty. We can take series, pop, and we will get this long array. So now we have an array. Now we will take the array and take the last value of this array. So array length -1. And the diff is there plus diff. And down here we will return diff. So if we go up here, the diff is 0. We will fetch the array with all 3s. The diff is 3. Fetch the array, and the diff is 18. Is that the right value? Yes, it is. So if we run this full, we get 144. Nice. Then we will switch over and run the full example. So let's see if we get the right values now. We got this huge value here. Could be correct. Let's switch over and put it in. No, the answer is too low. Okay, turn to day 9. This video series is sponsored, so for all your hosting needs, go to DigitalOcean. If you want to learn something new this Christmas, then you can go to Coursera, take any of those 7,000 courses over there, or follow along with the simple Java course that I provided as well. And if you want to give your kids something really great for Christmas this year, you can give them a one-on-one course with a Code Combat trainer in order to learn coding. All the links can be found in the video description. And we are back. Days. This is the anticlimax of the day, which is really sad. You get a gold star, I get a gold star, everybody gets a gold star. What value did I put in? I put in this value that I really thought was too low, because I thought these were too low, but I have misread the information, so these were probably too high. And this was the correct one. And what the problem was that I was too eager to do a quick test, so I didn't check all of the values for 0. So after I reroute this, and so I just do a subtract here, normal subtract, nothing else. And down here I do a normal add, nothing else. But I need to have a function where it actually go through each value and check that all of them are zeros. Not just the first two, all of them needs to be 0. And in that case we will break. Otherwise we will continue working here. So that was the problem here. Wish I put that on camera, but I did not. So let's go to part 2. Of course, it would be nice to have an even more history included in your report. Surely it's safe to just extrapolate backwards as well, right? For each history, repeat the process of finding differences until your sequence of differences is entirely 0. Then rather than adding a 0 to the end and filling the next values of each previous sequence, you should instead add a 0 to the beginning of the sequence of zeros and then fill the new first values of the previous sequence. In particular here, you can see the third example of history shows like extrapolating back in time. Adding the new values on the left side on each sequence to the bottom and top eventually reveals the new leftmost history of value 5. Doing this with the remaining example that above in the previous values of -3 to the first history, 0 for the second history, and adding all the new values together produces 2. Okay. So we pretty much need to do the same for the first value. So I wonder if we just do like that. Could that work? We get 2. Wasn't that the first thing I tried? And it didn't work? Or did I flunk this up in some way? Yeah, so let's go back to the original value then. So this would be 1038 then. Let's see, let's put that in. Yes, you get a gold star, I get a gold star, everybody gets a gold star. So, that was interesting. We pretty much did a very simple function here. We had this calculate next value, we added that to the value, we had a big integer which we were working on. And this calculate next value, we created a DQ. And this is pretty much a queue where you stack things on top. So you add things to each other and then you pull pop from the stack again. We have this line array where we split up the line in by the space, and then we will go through and create a big int array, big int array, and we just go through each of these characters and then create a long array of that length. Then we needed to do while loop here where we actually are working. So working is true, and while we're working, we will push this array that we have into the stack, and then we will create a new array that is one shorter, and then we will go through and subtract from each of them. So the next value we would subtract with the first value, we will get the difference between these two values, and we will get that into a new array. The new array will be the old array. We will set working to false, because now we want to check. And here was a thing that I did wrong in the beginning. I had something in the while loop where I checked the first and the second value. Not correct. We need to check all of them. So I have a for loop here which goes through all the values and checks that they are equal to 0. If any of them are not equal to 0, we'll set the working flag to true again and create another loop. Then we want to figure out the last and the first value. So if we want to have the last value, we take this array and just do array length -1 and then subtract difference from that. Otherwise, or add a difference to that. And in this case, we will take the 0th value and subtract with the difference in order to get the first in the series. So what we do is pretty much take the difference to 0 to begin with. We will pop an array of this series as long as the series is not empty. And we will add the difference here to the difference, and then do that until we can return the actual difference. And we will sum those up and get a value. So it's not a super complicated thing here. It's just the math that I'm not really good at. So I took a long way to get there, trying a bunch of stuff out. If you are really good at math, I think you would do this in your sleep pretty much. I hope that you liked this video. Give it a like, share it with your friends and colleagues. If you found some really nice way to solve this one, put an example in the video description or in the comment section down below. And if you have any other comments or suggestions, please leave them there as well. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do that. And I really hope to see you in the next video.